Okay, hi folks. So today we'll be doing a part 10 of our building the soundbite recorder, and in our stream today we'll be deploying the application and then working on approvals. And if we get some time, we'll look into type errors and warnings that we have as of now. So just give me a second. Yeah, I think we can start now. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do is deploy the application right? So the application as such is all committed to GitHub. So and because this is a Next.js application, we can use Vercel for deployment, right? So this is the best option to deploy Next application. So I'll just go right ahead and use it. So I'll import a project from my GitHub repo, and this is the URL. So I'll copy paste it there. Yep. It knows what the framework is. It pulls in the name. I'll just make it a capital B and then just deploy. It says okay. The project name can only contain up to, okay, it has to be lowercase, so that's fine. Okay, so now it's deploying and we can see the logs below here. So let's wait on that. Okay, so it's installing dependencies and all. Meanwhile, we also have a pull request right here that was raised by Renovate. So but let's wait on this till our code is deployed. Okay, so I immediately see an error. It says that npm run build failed, and this is because, okay, so there is a type error, right? And this is in our next.environment.d file, and I think we can emulate it locally by just running the, so it before it deploys it runs next build. So let's do that here as well. So if I do npm run build, it will probably throw the same error, and then we can debug it here and then like push a fix for it. So it's doing a build. Meanwhile, let me open up vim, and then we know like there's an issue in the next. Okay, I'm not in the right directory. So there's a come on. So there's a yeah, there's an issue in this file, right? Next env. So let's get rid of this completely because this was anyways not helping us. So now if I run next, or rather npm run build again, let's see what it gives us, or like what error it throws. Okay, so I think it's working fine. Let me commit this quickly. So I'll say revert no custom type. I think it's fine. So let's push this up, and I think it should automatically pick it up because the application is somewhat connected. I'm not sure, like the import process did fail. So okay, and apparently there is okay, I think like I had merged some changes related to Renovate, so that's why there's a change upstream. So let me pull that in. So let me go rebase master. Yeah, and now I can do a push with a force with lease option. Okay, so let's try this again, shall we? So if I click on deploy again, I think like it should run it, should try doing it again. Yeah, let's start our tmux server here, and then have the bot listening in. So yep. Okay, let's source the environment variables as well and then run it. Okay, so now that I'm deploying this application, right, like even though there was error, we fixed it. The other thing that we might run into is that these environment variables aren't set on the platform as such. Like it's not set on Wurzel. So that is something we need to address as well. Like I think I don't clearly remember what was. I think we might need to use their CLI, which I don't have installed and all. But yeah, we'll have to figure it out as well. So if I go to the docs, this is for Wurzel, right? Using custom domains, not really interested in that. We want build steps. And this is only build root directory. Yeah, this is what we are looking for, right? Oh, okay. Yeah, they now have a UI for it as well, so it's under environment variables are accessible during both build, setup and runtime. Okay, it's under project settings. So once this is deployed, okay, so the application is deployed, but I think like once we go to the page it will throw errors because our lambda function won't be able to or the serverless function won't be able to access it. I'm seeing some frame drops. Hopefully the stream is working fine for everybody. Okay, so if I go to the dashboard, yeah, seems like there is some issue with the stream. Let's see, let me quickly check if it's working as expected or not. Like I saw a sudden drop there. This seems in sync. Okay, good. So now we go to the settings page. Yeah, we have the environment variables have moved. You can manage your project environment with their own dedicated page. Yeah, here. Okay, so yeah, why do they have like, what if I want the same environment variables everywhere? Develop this development environment preview and production. Okay, in order to provide development with the environment variables at build and runtime, you may enter them right here in the environment of your choice. Deployment is required to take change. Okay, so let me move this window over so that I can populate these values. Right, so I'll take this here and then also move this, or let me open a new terminal window here. It should be fine. So if I go to bytes and print out my environment variables and then just use them. So okay, I'm just quickly going to update the environment variables here so that this application does start working. Okay, so we want to add environment variables. Let's add them for the production environment. Preview I'll figure out later on. So let's open it in Vim so that it's easier to copy over. So first of all we need the Aws access key, so bringing that over. access key, and then its value. Sorry, you have to do this on a different screen and you can't really, like, we're basically seeing nothing. Okay, now we're already getting an error that AWS access key is reserved, so we'll have to rename it. So let me add a prefix of underscore b underscore. So I think we ran into the same issue on Netlify as well, where AWS access key threw an error, but that's all right. Okay, b underscore, the same thing here. Quickly copying these things over, and then we need the Airtable key. Pasting it here, pasting this here. We need the TMI token for, I don't think we need the TMI token because Twitch client wouldn't run on this, so I won't copy it. Although there's no harm in doing it, but yeah, I don't see the value either. So quickly copying over the GitHub IDs for authentication that we're using, right? So, and yeah, just the last value would be, I think, next. Yeah, let's quickly take a look at next auth, right? I want to check, do we need to populate the next auth URL as well? I think it gets populated itself from what I remember, but let's see. So if we go to documentation, this doesn't have anything here. Let's go here then. Securing API routes. It's called next auth URL, right? So if I search for next auth underscore URL, yeah, you can use the get token helper function in any application as long as you have set the next auth environment variable, right? But what do I set it to is what's not really clear. I think it was clearly mentioned on the get started guide, so let's take a look at that instead. Do they mention this here? Next auth, no mentions here. Going over here on the guide, I think there was a mention somewhere at the bottom. Maybe on the second page itself. No, not here. Yeah, this URL should be the current website URL of our app. This domain of this URL should match the authorized callback. Okay, yeah, I don't think it mentions that then. Okay, let's take a look at the application itself. So if I come back here, okay, so this is, yeah, there is some configuration option documentation that we can refer to. So when deploying to production, set next to environment variable to your canonical URL of your website. Okay, so I think our website is bytes, so we'll use just this. That should be fine. So I'll add it. Okay, let me regardless add the TMI token as well. Maybe in case we need it in future, we'll have it there. Yeah, that is it. Okay, so coming back here, I updated the token name something called like all the tokens that are, or like the environment variables that use the prefix AWS have to be renamed to like b_AWS. Right, so it has to be uploaded in this upload.ts file. So I think what I can do is just take all of this, say like replace AWS underscore, or just AWS with b_AWS/g. I think it updated everywhere, so that should be fine. You can take a look at the diff as well. Yeah, it says here this bit changed, this line changed, or rather let's look at on the right side. So this B changed because this is in white, this is in white, and this is in white. So I think that should be it. Oh, did I not save it correctly? No, this looks fine. Okay, we have our server running. Let's actually deploy this. I'll commit it as update environment variable, and then we don't need to do a force with lease because we didn't modify the history. Yeah, let me go here quickly, and then in my I'll just update my local environment variables which is source in, so that they use this updated name as well. So yeah, I think this is done as well. Let me close this. Okay, so now we want to go here and see if it triggers a deploy. Where can we look at the logs? We don't need any of this right now, so I think we can go to Virtual Dashboard again. Where is our dashboard? Yeah, this one, and it's in yellow, so it means it's deploying. So it's building right now, and so this is deployment, the current deployment. Okay, I think it's ready. So if I go here and refresh the page, yeah, it's still not giving me anything. So let's take a look at it. What is the, this is all fine. If we go to functions, do we get any errors? Right, so yeah, let's see, let me refresh. Yeah, nothing coming up. Console logs are empty as well. Yeah, okay, so yeah, it's trying to get my session, but that's fine. What I'm more interested in is like why it's not able to fetch the data right now. So if I go to /vps/fetch, I think it's getting the data here, so this is fine. That means that the API endpoints are working as expected, right? Yeah, these are the logs, and if I go to index, let me get rid of this. I recall like we were showing the bytes, so let me run the server here as well. So it was source of my environments, and do a npm run dev. We were showing the bytes, but we weren't showing the recording of UI, from what I remember, unless we did something differently. Yeah, we should be like, let me log out first. Yep, it should be showing all these values. Okay, here we see an error, right? It says failed reason, like connection refused 3000. Do we have localhost 3000 configured somewhere? I think that might be a problem. Oh, I think it might be there in in our in one of our functions. So let's see. So let's kill this server for now. So I think if I go to this, would be, let's see, like fetch should be fine. Fetch all should be fine. So I think it's just in the index file. So in our index file we have this right here, right? So this has to be updated. I think what we can do is we could probably just use the environment variable. So let me check here, right? So we have yeah, next auth URL is available, right? So we can probably use that, and the same value has been configured on the other environments as well. This has to be an absolute path, so that is the conundrum, right? Like I would have just used API/fetch, but this is okay as well. So if I do const process.env and then we pull in from this next auth URL, so this should be fine. If I just change this, okay, not that, go back here, change the surrounding. Why is surround not working? Oh, sorry, pressing the wrong keys. And so we are changing this to backticks, and then if I delete up till here and replace this with next auth URL, I think this should be fine. So I'll commit this now that like we have an environment. It makes sense to commit it very often. We'll just commit it as replace local host with next auth URL, and that should be fine. So if we look at deployments, it's deploying now. Okay, okay, it's deployed. Yeah, now we see the application running, right? So it's able to pull in the data. Let's play something. Hello, hi. it seems to be working fine. It's showing the user information here as well. So if I sign in, use GitHub to sign in. Okay, yeah, immediately we get a callback error. Yeah, I think like the same thing applies here as well. I think we have set it up in that way that like either on the GitHub end or on our local end. So let's take a look at auth. Yeah, I think it's on the GitHub end where we have set up the callback. So yeah, nothing here, and yeah, this is the only function. So let's go to GitHub and configure our app. So we just want to replace the environment variable or rather the callback URL to something else. So if I go to settings, and then we'll have to figure out how do we get it working on our local as well. Maybe use a different application, but that's fine. I am not sure if this is the correct one. App authorization, I think. I'm not sure. This is installation. I think it might be here. Yeah. Oauth apps. Yep. It's here bytes. So okay, I did expose my values again. So I'll have to yeah, keep doing this over and again. But yeah, I'll revert them everywhere. That's what I get for doing such stupid things. So let me revoke all user tokens. Now LastPass isn't working. Come on, LastPass. Yeah, LastPass has the worst extension. Like the really worst extension. Most of the time it doesn't work for me. See, like I'm clicking on it and it doesn't open. Okay, let me use my phone to grab the password. Okay, so okay, sir, did it revoke the password? Reset client secret, revoke all user tokens, should be fine, I think. So I'll update the values here. Client secret we are updating. GitHub client secret. I think the ID remains the same from what I can tell. Let's see, cd bytes, and then if I look at the ID, it's b. Yeah, ID remains the same, just the secret gets updated. Okay, so that is fine. And then we want to change the callback URL to point to our application, which is bytes.app. So this would be, oh no, this would be bytes.app with an HTTPS in front of it. Yeah, I think it should be fine. Let's see if I configured it correctly. Let's see on the screen, bytes.versal.app IP. Okay, yeah, this looks fine. One quick thing before I come back to the main screen is Okay, so we don't need this, either. Okay, so now that I have also updated my environment variable, maybe we might need to trigger deployment again as well, but let's see. So if I try to log in again, right, go back here, go back to the application root, do a refresh again, so that doesn't pick anything from cache. Click sign in, go to GitHub. Yeah, so you see this time it is redirecting to the right URL, which is good. So I authorize that, and then it redirects me back. Okay, now there is another error. It says that Oauth Callback error. Not a lot of details, but we can, I think, like look at the functions. What I feel that is that it could be due to the fact that I changed the keys with GitHub client secret, so it could be due to that as well. So, and they do mention that it requires another deployment, right? So that is what I'm thinking, and I'm now, I want to see like if I can sort of trigger a deployment through UI, their UI. Yeah, they say like do a push, which is not the most convenient way to do it, right? Like in case I don't want to deploy again or like commit again at least. So let me do a git commit amend, like same commit, just push it again. Let's see if that triggers a build. Hopefully it does. Yeah, let's see. Yep, it did trigger a build, so that's good. No updates on the logs as such, so this would have been auth. Yep, auth. So there was no error there. Okay, now let's take a look at the build. Can we see the logs? Inspect deployment. Yep. So yeah, I think it's done. If I go to bytes and deployment, it's done. So if I go over here, not here, bytes ursel.app, and then I try to sign in with GitHub. Okay, it seems like I'm logged in. That's good. Okay, let's try to record something. Yeah, that was amusing. Yeah, so this is, yeah, that was amusing. Okay, this is good enough. So we upload it. It should just do its thing, store the values, and then also tag the current user as well, is what we are hoping for. we don't see that here, but I think I can think of why it's not happening, because it's not showing here as well. So if I refresh, I think it should show for first two users. Yeah, it does. So I think like we are just fetching, like whenever we refetch the data, we are not pulling this user as well. So let's address that. In our index, we are fetching, okay, we are parsing the user here, right? So no, not here, we are doing it here. So what we are doing is we are not doing the same thing like we did here, where we reassign data and mapped over it and parse the JSON. So we need to do that. So let me copy this over. Here, let's make this a let, or let's make this, why do we want to call it B, right? We can call it data, although data is already defined, I think. We'll call it let data, and this would be data, and yeah, this could be B actually, this doesn't have to be data. So if I do coc command prettier format file, yeah, I think this should be fine. We are not using loading, by the way. That's fine. Okay, so let's commit this quickly. Pass data on front end, right? So it should parse the data on the front end as well, and that is it. Okay, so hopefully okay, so this is queued, the deployment. I think like once this is done, we'll have a complete deployment as such, but yeah, let's get this over with, and then we'll move on to the next items. Okay, so it's still building. I think we can have some music in the background. Yep. Okay, so the deployment is done. So refresh the page here. Right. Okay, my CPU is shooting up badly. I think it's due to the video running, but let's see. It's quite loud as well. Okay, let's see. Hello, hi, some music running in background. Hello, hi, some music running in background. Okay, let's try. So immediately the user should have a photo and a name. Okay, that is how it is. So this is fixed. And then in case I sign out, yeah, I don't see an option, so that is good. The next thing would be I think like let's update our readme first. So we have deployed our application, right? So so the next thing I wanted to work on is approvals, and by approvals what I meant was just like me being able to choose what are the sounds that uh, should show up, right? So like I think like we can do a lot around it. Like for example, me being able to pull in all the sounds that are waiting approval, and then sort of picking and choosing which one to approve. It can be done through Airtable as well, but we can like build a sort of a UI or a TUI around it, a terminal UI around it as well. But yeah, let's just start with approval first. So I think if I resize this window a little bit, yep. So all of these have a now have a like a approval column, right? I'm not sure like if this has a default value. Okay, I think it's fine. Like we will configure. Okay, so the default value is anyways like false, right? So imagine like we just validate one here, this background music auth, this live, and this one, right? So as of now we just have 4 of these working, right? So now what we just want to show is that only fetch the approved sounds, right? Like nothing else, and that is how it should be, right? Like rather than just like pulling in everything from anybody, we just pull in sounds that have been approved, right? So now this is where we'll have to look at the Airtable API, because I think where's their API? Yeah, so I think like they have options of filtering as well, rather than sort of like me querying everything and then filtering. So let's make this bigger. This music is not something I'm a fan of. Okay, so we want to retrieve a record, right? Or rather a list of records. You have to use JavaScript. So Airtable will perform best effort to automate data conversion if typecast parameter is passed. Okay, okay, they have a typecast. Okay, I don't think we ever, like up till now we didn't need it, so it's fine. Okay, we want to go to list. I think is there a filter option here? No. Sort is there, filter by formula is there, but we don't want to use a formula as such. We have max record, we have views, yeah, I don't think we have option to pull in data specifically. Okay, I think in that case we are fine. So the way we will do it is, this is related to just fetching, nothing else. Fetching, and I think like listener will also be updated, but yeah, let's come back to the listener after this. So this uses fetch all, so we'll have to update fetch all. So if I go to fetch all, why wouldn't you go there? Go to file. Okay, so this has all the files, right? I think we have a query as well, right? So if I go to the definition of this, jump to definition, isn't happy today. Okay, now it's working. Okay, so this is query, and then yeah, okay, we don't have more options. Query, it is within query itself, but then yeah, it has all and all of this. Let me see if we have anything else to query. We have select, we have find, which takes in an ID, so that won't be helpful either. Yeah, I think that is it. We'll have to do it on the front end, which is fine. Not even on the front end, like we can do it here, but yeah. We are not massaging the data here, right? So let's now look at fetch all, like what are the use cases. Maybe we can unify it. So within fetch we are using it, and then we are also using it in listener. So just two use cases. This one produces a map, right? A map of all the sounds, and the other one creates an hash map. This one is actually an array, right? Like, let's not call it a map. So yeah, it makes sense to have like two different data structures in both the places. That said, I'm thinking like what is the common thing that we can pull from it, and also yeah, and also like why didn't we convert it to JSON here? Oh yeah, because we are responding as JSON here. We can JSON parse it here, I think, but yeah, let's not worry about that because we have already dealt with that. So the current problem is that we want to pull in. Okay, let's pull that data in first. So ts ignore, I'll do a ts ignore here, and then I'll just pull in this field, authorized, right? I think this is the one. Let's check whether it's called authorized. Approved, it's called. So yeah, which makes more sense. Approved with no bees, right? So this is our approved value. This is consumed by, first of all, fetch, right? So fetch uses, oh, this is fetch all. We want fetch. No, is this fetch? Oh, okay. So we want to go to fetch all then. Okay, yeah. So this will get all the data that it needs. So yeah, I think we either standardize on a structure here and then like do another conversion, which is fine, I think, or we do it twice. I am not really sure, so I'm inclining towards doing it twice right now. Let's do it once here and then we'll figure it out. So we have all our R here. We can filter on it by taking this byte, each byte, now that it has been converted from a record to a byte, and then we'll say like b dot approved, right? I think that should be it. If I do npm, let's try it out locally. Do I have, I think we have a server running here, so localhost 3000. Yeah, we just see 4 sounds, so this is working. It's happening on the backend itself, not on the front end, but yeah, okay, I think it's fine for now. So this logic is already working. I think like same would apply on the front end as well, right? So like imagine I sign in, okay, now it won't work. Yeah, this is something I'll do it after the stream, like where I'll set up all the the credentials separately for this environment. Okay, so let's deploy this, or let's fix the listener as well first and then deploy it. So here's our listener. So we get all the records, right? So we are reducing it into an array, but before we reduce it, I think we should add a check that right over here, like if r dot approved, or rather, like if r dot not approved, then return. Right, I think that should be fine. It is throwing that approved doesn't exist on record, so we need one more ignore here. So yeah, with that, I think what's the error here? Is it due to this thing, or was it already there? Seems like it's due to this. I think we must return something that is let's see, I have a bit of confusion here. So can we reduce and then not return a value? So like imagine we have an array of 1 2 3, and while I reduce this, I'll say like a dot reduce. I'll take in the accumulator, I'll take the current iteration value, and I basically want to convert it into a string, right? So if I'll say like if I is equal to 3 or 2, I'll just return, otherwise I'll just return I'll do like a plus equal to I, which is basically appending I to the string and then also returning a. Okay, I get an add because in this case I returned undefined, right? So that's the issue. So what if I return in this case an empty string? Yeah, then it works, but then where did 1 go? Alright, what happened to 1? I don't know. Let's do a console.log I as well. So there's a I 1 here and then also 3. So we are adding, we're adding 1 here, right? So let's print console.log a comma I, get rid of this console log. Yep, so even a is 1 here. Yeah, this should be string as well, and that's why it's in black rather than blue, so that should be fine. Why is the return value 3? Like reduce is always confusing. Okay, so I think a dot reduce, right? So a, oh, okay, yeah, like the worst naming I have done. So it shouldn't be a multiple times, right? Like let's make it AC, AC here as well. So the accumulator is called AC. No, that doesn't help either. So what is A? A is 1 to 3. We are reducing on AC. If I is 2, we return us empty string. Okay, we shouldn't return an empty string because that will sort of invalidate what we had previously, right? So we should just do return. What if we do just a return of AC? I think like this should be fine. Yep. So I think the same thing can be done here, like return the current accumulator, which is ACC. Okay, so we didn't modify the accumulator, we just returned it as such. So while it iterates over it, it will add new values to the accumulator if it finds something, or otherwise the accumulator remains an empty object, which is good. So our listener, I think, is also fixed. The environment variable it requires is just a TMI token, so I think it should work. So let's start it up. Let's try npx. Let me open a chat here. Pop out chat. There were a lot of frame drops today, like almost like 5% of the stream. So I'll figure out like what the issue was, but yeah, I'm sure like there would have been some issues. Okay, so the listener basically here what we wanted to check was that what did we want to check? Did we want to check like if we just pull in the sounds that are let's see, like let's open up our listener. So this is just fetching the sounds that are approved, right? So it won't play anything else. So if I do like a bytes ls, okay, it gives me nothing. Yeah, okay, so that's weird. Oh, okay, yeah, no, I think that should have worked. It doesn't have to do anything with does it have to do anything with deployment as such? I think like this is using fetcher to pull in the data. So right, so this has the Airtable keys, so I think it should work. That said, it could be that we have some issues here. So let's do a console.log r, which is the value that we are pulling in. Let's start the server again. Right, so immediately we see like it pulled in these sounds, so that is fine. Let's run this again. Doesn't get anything, doesn't pull nothing. Okay, let's take a look. So when we call bytes ls, we are calling bytes ls here. Let's log bytes on the console as well at this moment of time. Starting or hold on, I think I want to also remove this earlier call console log. It doesn't seem to add a lot of value. So going back here, if I do npm run, no, npx, Yep. Yeah, so it's fetching nothing here. That seems to be a problem. Let's quickly validate by removing the filter. So if I do listener, if I go over here and just get rid of this thing, try again. Did this not start? Okay, it's an issue with filtering, so that is something we know. Now let's take a look at what it is. So if I go to the file, this file is fine. It's just pulling in everything. What instead I want to check is fetch, or rather just fetch how we pulled in the data from there. Come on, go to the previous file, split it. Okay, so oh yeah, okay, so we are calling r.approved, right? But then there's no r.approved as such. We have to do like r fields and then approved. Like if this value is a truthy value, is a negative value, then we'll just return the accumulator. That's all. So I think like now it should work. Let's see. Bytes ls, waiting for the server to come up. Meanwhile we can remove the console log. Yeah, it's already up, so let's run it. Yep, we just get these sounds. So if I like now play like bytes random, nothing is playing. Okay, hello, hi, some music running in background. Okay, it's working fine. And then if I play a particular sound as well, bytes, let's say live, we are testing this live just to check whether recording works and whether the sound is available on Twitch or not. Okay, so all of this is working fine. Let me just get rid of that. I think we had that console log somewhere. This is fine. This is fine. Yeah, we just want to get rid of this one. Okay, so this is all right. Yeah, I think we can with this. We have approved, added approval, right? Now, yeah, I did want to add like authorization as well, so that like from the UI itself, like now that we have authentication, I can sort of like, in case I have that role, I could probably approve sounds from the UI itself, because currently I have to go to Airtable and then approve them, right? So like put a check in front of them manually. Also, like there is no allowing of multiple people to do it. So the alternative here is to move this user in a way that I move it to a new table, right, and then sort of source it from there to here. Yeah, that is going to be tricky, but yeah, for now like approval is done. So let's commit this. So what we made changes in is like just fetch bytes and fetch all, and that is pretty much it. So let's update the readme, 16 down. So yeah, so currently, was it showing all the sounds? Yeah, it's currently showing all the sounds. So let's take a look, like after we deploy, what do we actually get? uh, so this is bytes, this is our deployment going on here. So once that is done, we'll be able to check over here. Yeah, it's going on right now. Okay, it's done. Yeah, it's now showing me only 4 files here. So if I go to sign in, log in here, I think like last time we were recording and something failed, so let's try now. Hello, hi, this is for checking authentication or other approval. So as soon as I upload it, right, like it shouldn't show up here. We should probably show a message, but I think like we can do it next time. Yeah, that is not showing up, but if I go to Airtable, yeah, we have approval here, right? So if I now put a check in front of it, refresh the page, it should show up. Yep, it does show up. And then if we try to play it, hello, hi, this is for checking authentication or other approval. Okay, yeah, it's working. So I think like we have met the criteria there as well. So if I refresh the page, next up we had type errors and warnings, but rather than doing it today, because like we have had a lot of frame drops, I'll push it to the next stream, and I will sort of revisit the priorities on this. Maybe I might not follow the same order. Maybe we'll add more items here, because I feel that currently the restriction of having the user table is limiting the application, right? Like it has to be more of a social application, and like if the user is not, like, we are not able to do a lot with users, then we won't be able to build a application where people can interact with it. So that is something we'll prioritize in the next stream as well. Okay, all right, thank you guys.